Hi, everyone. Welcome to eLearnChat, where you always learn something new. Today, I am joined by Harold Muliati. He's running the video switcher, doing the all the fun stuff here. Unfortunately, Leslie Price couldn't make it today. We didn't know she wasn't going to make it, but we hope she's okay, and we will probably see her next week. And we have our eLearnChat hero today. He came on very last moment. We asked him, because we had a cancellation, and we were thinking, who could we bring on? And we started thinking, and I just so happened to watch his last podcast not very long ago, like yesterday, I think. And we thought, hey, Brent Schlenker, he's always great. So Brent's on the show. He'll be joining us in a moment. He's with dominKnow, and here we go. This show is sponsored by Relay Corporation. Digital learning development, media development, corporate video, management consulting, and more. Visit us at www.relate.com. Thanks. And joining us in that center position of power, it's Brent Schlenker. He's with dominKnow. And hey, Brent, how you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for having me. I'm that guy that just doesn't have anything to do. I'm always just available. So you just call me anytime.
Yeah, I was surprised you could make it. I go, oh, wow. He said yes. Yay. Because I was just thinking, you're not too far from us. You're only like about an hour away time zone wise. And you're still in Phoenix, right?
Yeah. But we're on California time. So
so you're the same time zone right now.
Yeah, we're in the Pacific time zone.
So, well, thanks for coming on. And Chris Van Wingerton, thanks for letting him come on. You guys are great. By the way, we all, I think most of us are watching your podcast, the Idiotic podcast, which is Instructional Designers in Office Drinking Coffee. We know that.
Yes, and we had to kind of switch it up a little bit and start referring to it as Instructional Designers at Home Offices Drinking Coffee.
Oh, God, I hope that ends soon. We just got our restaurants open today, finally. It's insane. But anyway, that's a whole other story. That's there is a virus. It's not that dangerous a virus. It only affects certain people, mainly old for the most part, or anybody who's had a lot of vaccines. But the response has been just idiotic. I mean, not that way, but it's just been ridiculous. You don't quarantine healthy people. You don't take them. You don't put them in their homes where they can't get fresh air and go out and we're lucky where we are. We've been able to get out and walk around and do all sorts of stuff. But in many places, and we've been coming to the office every day, but in many places, they've got you locked down where you can't move. And that's insane. That's illegal, frankly. But anyway, California is California, and they're doing what they do. And they've gotten so much flack and so many lawsuits, I think they're starting to lighten up. So
I should hope so. Yeah. My life didn't really change all that much. I've been working from home for a long time, and I don't really do much other than work. The only thing that changed was the 3 kids were all of a sudden home again, and it was like, wait a minute, I thought we got rid of you people.
Well, now, your youngest son is probably 20 now, isn't he?
21.
21.
My youngest daughter is. We did her high school graduation last night. We did a parade for them because since they couldn't do commencement ceremonies,
That's amazing. And you're only 35, so it's just amazing how well you've done. It's just great. So.
Oh yeah, right. Well, thanks for.
No, I remember we met about 12 years ago, and it was, or maybe 11 years ago. It was quite a while. It was at a show you were doing in San Diego, and we were going to try to get together, but you had to do something for your son that night. I think you were flying back or something. There was something going on yet. You had to get back. And so we didn't get to see each other that one time. And I think your son was 10 at the time, or maybe, he was probably 10. That's about 11 years ago.
Oh, yeah,
it was a new show. It was one you guys, you weren't even working there then, I think. This was when it was.
Well, it was 2010, I was.
Was it Mobile Learn, something like that?
I was just going to say, it might have been the first Mobile Learning.
Mobile Learn, yep. But you weren't there yet, were you?
In
with
2010?
The Guild? That was when were you with the Guild then?
Yep.
You were already?
Yeah,
okay.
I helped them start it. I was there from 2006 to 2012.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure on the timeline there, but yeah. So that's the only time we just missed each other. We saw each other real quickly, and that was it. You were gone. And I just remember you had a 10-year-old, and so that's cool. That's funny. And doesn't time fly?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Our daughter's 30 right now, and we're like, wow, she turned 30, and we haven't aged a bit. It's all her. So.
Yeah, well, we interviewed it. You listened to the interview yesterday on Idiotic with Karen Hyder, and she and I worked together at the eLearning Guild, and it was interesting because I'd seen her at events and stuff in passing, and we've said hi and hugged and everything, but haven't had a conversation with her in 10 years.
Oh, it's been that long. Wow. And I heard the name. I go, why do I know that name? I know Karen Hyder. That name sounded really familiar. So it's just interesting. And the funny thing is 10 years goes by very quickly. I look back on it. We've been podcasting now for about 11 years, almost 12. And I can't even believe it. I go, it's been that long? It just seems like a couple of years. And it just goes and goes. You guys have been on for about 2 years now, right?
Yeah, I think so. It feels like more than 2 years, actually.
It could be. You did a lot of shows. Yeah, I mean, how many shows are you at now?
We celebrated our 100th show a few shows back. So
yeah, we're at, what are we at? 3-something?
This is episode number, we're at 332.
We're on 332, and that's over 11 years, 12 years. It's just amazing. We did take an almost 2-year hiatus where I think we just stopped. We just needed to freshen up the show and do something better with it. And then it started like nothing. It just started all over again. And what I like about your show, that you guys have a lot of fun on it. You have good guests. Some of the guests, we have the same people every so often, but it's fun. I like your approach. Chris, I call Chris the most handsome man in the universe. I think because when Sarah was working with her, she goes, "Oh, he's a handsome man, or a beautiful man. So we had him on the show last time and said, you are the most beautiful man in e-learning. He was like, but no, he's a good looking guy, and he's got a personality that works on the show. I thought you were going to be the fun guy and he was going to be the straight guy. He's not that straight all the time. He's pretty fun with you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he's hilarious. He cracks me up all the time. Are you kidding me? Yeah, he's musically talented as well.
Oh, so. Is he? Okay,
he won't tell anybody, but yeah.
Does he play?
He's got skills.
He plays music.
He's a guitar player, singer. Yeah.
Oh, really? We should all get together one day and just do something. Though I don't drum anymore. I used to drum, but not very well. I have a little drum set at home, and it's like, oh God, it's so bad now. But I do sing. I've been singing for a long time, just on my own.
Learning, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. And what do you play?
I'm a guitar player.
Guitar?
Sort of. I'm a hack, but, I like it.
It's fun. Yeah, Harold and I were talking pre-show about how we both tried guitar when we were young and just ripped our fingers up. No, I couldn't do it. I started with a steel string. My fingers were just destroyed.
Well, for me, it was just, I didn't really have a good place to practice was the thing. So I was always kind of in the way, or kind of like, bothering someone because so I just kind of dropped off with it.
You should get into GarageBand.
It's one of those things that, I'll probably pick up again at some point and think, well, why didn't I do this earlier,
Well, the one thing, and one thing Harold and I were working on one time is we were doing, I think, a little video work, or I think it was video work we were doing. And I told Harold, tap your foot, keep tapping 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gets the timing when things come in, when they come out, when the music starts, when the music goes out. And he picked it up right away, and he just kind of ran with it. Because if you're not used to music, then the timing's got to come from something else, just something, or like Leslie says, Leslie's been trying to buy you a metronome, Harold, and I go, no, he doesn't need a metronome, because that gives you that tuck, 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 tuck. Yeah. And they can work. I mean, they're good for timing, but once you get the timing, it's almost innate, it's internal, and everything just sort of flows.
Yeah.
Now, Brent, I remember you used to do video editing, or probably still do video editing. You were in media.
Yeah, I was. That was my first career. I was in broadcast television. Worked at a TV station here in Arizona, and did some mostly live. Just produced live bits for the news production stuff, news gathering, reporter, all that kind of stuff. And then I started producing a weekend show called the Northern Arizona Real Estate Showcase and selling homes.
Yeah, wow. Northern Arizona. That's some nice homes in Northern Arizona.
Oh my gosh, and I had no idea how big it was. Like, you drive through on your way up to go skiing or on your way to the Grand Canyon, and you just, there's a main strip that everybody drives, and it's like, oh yeah, it's a nice little town and everything. And I remember when I first started working there, I was like, how many homes can there possibly be? And wow, these realtors took me out to some places that were just unbelievable. Like, you're just driving on these dirt roads through the forest, and then all of a sudden a clearing opens up, and there's a cluster of like 10 like mansion style log cabins, like epic homes.
Even where you live in near Phoenix, at what is it, Scottsdale? I think it's Scottsdale.
Yeah, I'm near. I'm like right on the border of Phoenix and Scottsdale.
And I remember I once typed in Scottsdale real estate. Oh my gosh. I mean, everything was $5 million and up. I was going, wow. And the houses, they're built into the mountains, the beauty, and they're built so the sun comes up at a certain, it was amazing. They're absolutely gorgeous. And they're very expensive. They have the secret rooms. And I think I was watching, I don't know if it was House Hunters, and I was going, oh my gosh. And these people with secret elevators and underground garages that have lifts. I was going, this is like heaven of house. Wow. But why is it like $5 million to like $20 million for these homes? Ooh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But it is, it's like the hidden Hollywood.
It is. You know? It is. Is that what it is? Is it a lot of Californians that go out there, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Take their money from here.
There's a lot of athletes here, and there's a lot of there's rock stars, you know, Hollywood people buy second homes here and whatnot because you just can't beat the weather, you know. So
yeah, and it is really pretty up there. The way they built these homes, especially when they're nestled in the mountains, it looks like something out of this world. It's so pretty, and the sunrises and sunsets. And the architects talk about, well, this was done so that when the sun hits this particular angle, that would trigger something in the home to start a waterfall, and then the waterfall would lend. And I'm just going, wow, that's amazing. And you could tell the architects had a lot of fun building these things. Yeah. Just it must be fun. These must be pretty high end architects. And then I know some people. I know a guy named Darren Miles. Now he's in more the Florida area, southern Florida. And he does most of his business doing real estate photography and videos. He's doing really well doing that. It's a big burgeoning business. And they make houses look great. And you know, they always use wide angle lenses. So you walk into a room and go, wow, that room is big. Of course, you see in real life, it's like, you know, it's a closet. But with the wide angle lens, boy, does that look great. And, you know, they do all that kind of stuff. It's fun.
Yeah. I have some friends that do that too, and they use drones now, and they'll fly the drone through the house to get those shots and to get some video shots of, and then they'll go outside and get some nice aerial shots of the home. And yeah, I mean, it's a great marketing tool for them. Yeah.
Hey, in Arizona, do you have the same drone laws that we do, or is that nationwide that you have to be licensed? I know a lot of places that rent the drones will not rent you the drone. They rent you the drone and the pilot. It's interesting because they don't want any risk, and they don't want to, they don't want people getting complaints, because a lot of the drone idiots in the beginning were flying over, pretty women's houses and catching them when they were sunbathing or whatever. And it's like, of course, they were getting caught or shot, and it was just dumb. So, it's always the few that make it bad for everybody, but that's when all the laws came in. You got to have a license. You can't fly over properties unless you have permission, blah, 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 blah. Is it similar over there?
Yeah, they turned it into a legit industry, and I think it's international, and you can you have to get your license and all that kind of stuff. I remember talking to the licensing bureau at CES one year. They had a booth, and I was just asking it was when they first started it.
Yeah.
And because I thought, I want to do this, but I'm not going to get the license. Why do I need the license? But I thought, I better go talk to him. And it's like, yeah, now I get it. You don't want the FBI showing up at your house because you were flying too close to an airport or something.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because you can't fly high in the airport area. You can get dinged right away. And that happened. That happened not too long ago. I remember that. Some drone got into like LAX space or something, and they had to divert a flight. Then, of course, they caught the guy. I don't know what happened after that. That happened in our last brush fires that we had, the big ones. Some idiot was blocking the water helicopters from doing their dumps with his drone. I think he got arrested, but I don't know if they ever charged him or anything else. I think he was a lawyer too, which is even dumber. And he was taking shots that he was trying to sell to the news people. Just brilliant.
So how much has it changed? Like back when you were doing your show on the real estate, how did you shoot that kind of stuff, or rather, how did the crew shoot that kind of stuff?
You probably recorded to film, or not to film, but you recorded to tape, and then
no. We had one of the first digital cameras.
Oh wow!
I remember the news producer got a hold of it, and it was I don't even remember what brand it was or anything right now, because I wasn't into tech really back then. It was just like, here's a camera, use this, and I'm like, oh, cool, and I learned it, and it had a card. The card held like 12 photos, maybe.
Yeah, they were the small day. I remember those.
Yeah, hardly any photos at all. So I had to be really.
Oh, was that like a Sony Mavica?
Boy, you know what that sounds?
We used to have to put floppies in that one, little hard floppy drives. They were the mini.
Yeah, they were little. Yeah,
and you would put them in. I think you were able to get. You're right. It was under 20, 30 shots. Yeah, because we would do a photo shoot with 300, and we had something like 30 or 40 of those for one photo shoot.
Yeah, but it was crazy, and I was just fresh out of undergrad, and so single. And so it was fun. I would spend my weekends going out and shooting the homes. Sometimes in the evenings when I would get off work from doing the news stuff, I'd have to get the show ready for the weekend. So I'd go out and I'd shoot with the realtors, and then I would head back. And then we also had like an interview segment. So it was a magazine style show. Mm-hmm. So I got the president of the Northern Arizona Home Builders Association. She was my host, and she was great. She even won an award for doing the show.
Cool.
Which was cool. And it was always funny because I always had to get the guests and pull them all together and whatnot. And she always gave me crap for booking what she called the ditch digger, but he wasn't. He's the guy that, in Northern Arizona, there's not people buy homes out in the boonies, and you have to dig a well for your water.
Yep.
Right.
Unless you get a tank, and then you have the big water truck come out and fill your tank. There's like two different ways.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. So if you can drill, you have to call one of these guys, the water driller dudes. And I had him on, and he was interesting. I didn't vet him at all as a guest, and he was. It was like pulling teeth because she had to fill a certain amount of time, and she just ran out of questions because he just wouldn't talk.
Yeah. It's funny. We used to send people, I think we still do, some tips for a good interview. For us, don't ask yes, no questions, because you're going to get yes. And they stop. And it's like, well, so after you did that, what happened? Nothing. And we've had a couple of guests like that where it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna kill this person. It's like, it was just awful. It's like, okay, well, those were short shows. I think the shortest show we had was like 8 minutes once. And I was just going, we just did it real quick, and they were happy to get off. So I was, but
I have the opposite problem. I end up talking too much. I'm practicing. It's my growth area. I'm practicing reducing the length of my stories and my answers to questions.
It's hard. I know. I'm the same way. It's just because you're used to talking. You like telling stories, and you're personable, so you like to get into it. And then you just go, oh, I'm going off in the weeds again. I better bring it back. because one story leads to another and a different conversation. Then you've just, okay, down the rabbit hole. Are we coming back? I don't know.
Yeah. You and I could be here for hours.
Oh yeah. That's part of the fun of it. So, yeah, it is actually fun. And you guys are interviewing a lot of people. I mean, sometimes I see some of the guests you have. I go, that gives us a guest idea, somebody we hadn't thought of. And maybe
that's how we get our guests too, is by watching all the guests on everybody else's shows too.
Yeah, because you go, oh, you know what? That was a great interview. Let's talk to them. Maybe try a different angle or something else. So that way, I've heard people say stupid things like, go to a show and goes, well, do you guys compete with that idiotic podcast? No, we love them. We watch them ourselves. I go, we're part of all the same industry. We're not there saying, oh, I'm better, I'm worse. We're all friends. I mean, I go, people don't get that. No, I want them to do well, And they go, well, yeah, but you've been on longer. So that just means that they weren't on. Now that they're on, great. Hey, join the crowd, have fun.
And plenty of room for everybody.
There is, and it's also fun because as a vendor, it's even rare to see that kind of natural, attitude and everything coming out. So I think you guys are great doing this, and Chris too. I mean, he's got such a good personality for the show. And I told him when I saw him at Devlin, I go, you're great on the show. And he kind of doesn't really believe it. He's like, well, no, man, you're good. You got a good personality. Yeah. And not to mention the women think you're the most beautiful guy in the world. So what can you do? And he goes, I'm not beautiful. I go, no, I know you're not. You're handsome.
He's an attractive man.
Yeah, he's an attractive man. And he has a nice persona. Even, I was watching in some of the first shows, like the shirts he's got on and the poses. And I go, he's got it. He's got it right down pat. It just looks right, and so that's good. And you do have all the connections and the good guests and stuff. So that's also fun to watch. And most of the guests, I haven't seen too many that look shell shocked, but there were one or two I think that you've had on that all of a sudden they're like, "What are we doing here?" They looked a little nervous, but then they kind of got into it.
Yeah, they don't really. It takes sometimes it takes a couple questions or so for people to understand when we tell them, "Hey, listen, this is just a conversation. We only go for about 30 or 45 minutes. We have a topic because we have to put something in the marketing, right?
Right.
But we're just going to kind of go with it. We'll answer those questions and whatnot. But because some people are like, well, do I need to put together a presentation? Do I need to come with slides?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you can if you want. If you really feel like those will support what you're saying. Visuals are always great. We're never going to tell somebody no, but go and listen to a couple episodes and just kind of see how we roll, and then you'll kind of understand the vibe. But I think some people just don't take the time to do that, so they just don't know.
And I don't know if Harold's been showing it, but did you show some of the shots from Idiotic?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Well, and speaking of your podcast, a little more recently, you have your TheLearnTrain. Can you tell us a little bit about that and the kind of what's behind
we hadn't heard about that one.
Yes, it's interesting. It's so I was doing TLDC with Luis Malbus for a while, and he's running that on his own now. And I started my own community, and that's one of the it's the community side of things that I really wanted to get going. Right, in the early days. 2005, I started blogging and seeing how that could impact the industry, and I sort of built my reputation and my community around that. And then over the years, then podcasting and live streaming and video and YouTube and everything and mobile devices came up, and then this ability to bring people together and have the technology do better, more interesting things. It really got me into thinking more about what we do in shows like this, but more on the community side of it. So it's the reason for the show isn't just the show itself. It's just one of the channels that we use to communicate with the community of people that kind of feel like they're in our tribe, right? They're in our industry, corporate training and learning and development professionals. And so that's kind of where that came about. It's since I wasn't doing TLDC anymore, I still needed a way to keep my tribe together, the people that I love hanging out with, my community of professionals, and I wanted to grow it too, and do different things with the way I saw a community and the value it could add. So that's why I created the LearnTrain, and it's funny. I was trying to, from a branding perspective, I was trying to think, what are the words that we use in our industry? And it's like, well, learning and training are like the two big, right? Yeah, there's performance, and yeah, there's the other things, but so I just thought, well, I don't want to call it, learning and training. And so then I just thought, well, it's like, you can learn and you can train. And so let's just call it the LearnTrain. And I didn't think people would actually start thinking of it as like an actual, like a train, like that's what it was. It's like, no, the train is for training, but everybody wants to call it getting on the LearnTrain. They like that vibe. So I'm just going to roll with it. I decided to not fight it and just.
Well, the first thing I heard when Harold told me about it, LearnTrain, is that like Soul Train? And yeah, because I remember as a kid, I used to watch Soul Train. And it was sort of funny. It was a Soul Train. And I was thinking, this is the LearnTrain. And I was going, that's cool. What is it?
That's good.
So you've got to have instructional designers dancing.
Yeah, you should have instructional designers all just dancing in the streets. That'd be fun.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But no, it's a great community. I'm using a platform called Mighty Networks.
Okay.
Fabulous. It's a great little platform. And yeah, what you showed on the screen there was the landing page that you get with the platform. And
can you show that? There we go.
Yeah,
it looks nice.
And I still use Crowdcast, and I do the live stream with them. But I've kind of turned everything, not turned it off, but I've kind of slowed everything down that I'm doing with the LearnTrain, because I'm taking their class. They offer a community design class, and I'm taking that right now with the CEO of the company and her community designer. And
nice.
I'm learning a ton, and because me, I mean, I'm kind of freeform, and I just kind of let things happen. I'm not a super structured, strategic kind of guy when it comes to executing stuff, and I know I need to be. And so she's got a process that she says, just trust the process and go through this with me, and I'll help you get all this figured out. So I did, and we're about halfway through the course now, and it's a lot of work. Like being structured and strategic takes a lot of work.
It is. Well, what's good is if you can find somebody that can help you do the structured part, then you can focus on the stuff you really enjoy doing.
That's what I'm trying to get to. So hopefully that's the thing. But it's fun.
You have three kids. They're in college or just out of high school. To say, okay, now you owe me. I've given you free food for the last 20 years. Now you need to help me. And
I've been trying to talk them into it, but they don't really. They always say, "Yeah, sure, I'm happy to help," but I'm looking for them to be like motivated and come to me and go, "Hey, what can I do for you today?" And
they don't do that. No. You're the dad. It's different.
Yeah,
it's just different. Yeah, our daughter would help anybody in the world, and if we ask for something, it's like, all right. Yeah, it's a one-way street sometimes.
Yeah, but that's okay. But no, it's good. It's good. So the LearnTrain supports my work with dominKnow, and I still do a little bit of consulting on the side. If people reach out, and so it's a nice circle. It keeps my audience large. It gives me the ability to help promote dominKnow and the product, and to talk about it in that community as well, in a less sort of salesy and threatening way.
Right.
I can bring it up, and with people who are like, hey, I'm trying to build this or that or the other thing. What should I use? I can just be casual about it, not push really hard, and just say,
and you guys, and even on your podcast, you don't really push hard on dominKnow per se, which it's interesting. There's always that double-edged sword. Do you market heavily, or do you just let it kind of flow? You guys let it flow, and I think it's a nice way to get people to find out more about dominKnow and what you guys can do there. Yeah. So the approach is good. It's good.
Yeah, it was very thoughtful on our part from the very beginning. It was like, we're not going to make this a product show. We're not going to make it even a tool show. We didn't want to. We wanted to keep the overall topic umbrella at that instructional designer level, so that we talked about a lot of things, right? Everything that people that practice in our industry, that are professionals doing training of any sort, right? Whether doesn't matter what part of the spectrum of our business that you're in, we wanted to be able to talk to it. So that's why we kept it really high level. And only recently have we started scratching our heads thinking, maybe at the very least we should put a little logo on the screen that just says, you know, sponsored by dominKnow, and maybe we should say that at the beginning, right?
Yeah, that's what we're doing now. We have a little quick 15-second blurb. It's not even 15, I think. And just,
that was great. I love
just
that.
To say, it's sponsored by, because we don't push it. We don't. I can say that in all these years, everybody thinks, oh, I've gotten this from a lot of people. You guys must be rich with that show. Rich? No. I think we put over 100,000 of our own money into it throughout 11, 12 years, and that's it. That's our money. It stays here. I think we've gotten maybe one client, maybe two, and that was very indirect, and it was just small stuff. So, no. For us, this is at best passive marketing, and the other part is just more community, and we have fun doing it. So, I mean, we have a lot of gear, so it's a chance to use the gear. And I look at it that way.
I do too, and it's a learning opportunity for me, because one of the things I also use the community for is learning about how, as learning strategists, when you're in a large company, maybe you're a CLO and you're trying to figure out that technology ecosystem, to not forget about live streaming tools, to not forget about communities, right? You have these little communities inside of large corporations, but as a learning department, we don't pay any attention to those. We should be fostering those. We should see that as a super valuable, rich space for us to do what we do, as a channel for us to deliver learning and education, and for us to get our research and to do our analysis. Because if you're embedded in those little communities, or at least connected to them tangentially, you can see what's going on before it becomes a fire, right? We used to be the fire department, right? Oh my gosh, somebody broke something in manufacturing. It's because they weren't trained properly. So training quick, retrain the whole entire company because one person messed up. Now, with communities and being, and seeing into the business a little bit more closely, we can see that stuff before it turns into a huge financial issue for the company, right? You can start to see problems and hear the conversations and know real time what's going on. And then as a training professional, you can go, hey, you know what? I can fix that. Or, wow, maybe we should add that into the new hire orientation. I didn't realize people needed to know that, just little things like that. To me, it's huge. I really honestly do kind of see it as the future of what we do as learning professionals, but nobody's really on board with me on that yet. So
give them time, because we've tried that too. And have you thought about doing internal podcasts or broadcasts to your people? It's a great way. People don't want to read that much anymore. Put it on video, and they're like, maybe, and they're just nervous about it. It's nobody, and the executives are the worst. They're like, you want me on camera? No, I can't do that. It's like, what's wrong? You're on camera all the time. No, I don't want to do that. And they panic. We actually had an interview once, with the guy who runs Sweetwater, Chuck. What's his last name? Chuck. His name just slipped, but he's a great guy. He has a wonderful idea of what customer service should be. Sweetwater makes they sell music instruments and all sorts of stuff, and we've been buying their stuff for a long time. And so we've got the date scheduled. I sent him a note to remind him. I said, do you have your Skype ready, and blah blah blah? And he went, what's Skype? I go, well, Skype's how we're gonna get a hold of you so that you're on the video. Oh, I can't do this. I'm sorry. I have to cancel this. I can't do video. And he hung up. That was the end of the interview. I was like, oh, man. And so I talked to one of the people under him, and he goes, he's quirky. He loves people. And he's when they do their annual trade show or event, he's the first one shaking everybody's hands when they walk in, thousands of people. But he doesn't like tech. It's funny, for a guy who's in music and tech and everything else, it makes him nervous. He just didn't want to be on camera with, I have to know Skype. I don't even know what Skype is. So it didn't happen. Well, we were going to offer another time just to do a phone interview, because he was okay with that. And we'll just put his picture up. So maybe we'll offer that again soon. But that was so funny. It was just watching fear, just total fear. No. No, I can't do that. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll tell you what, the one positive thing that's going to come out of this whole pandemic lockdown thing is everybody knowing how to use the tools, right?
Yeah.
Or at least being semi-familiar with them, right? Yeah. Whether it's Zoom or Skype or whatever they're using internally in their company. Everybody's had to level up their game, so much so that everything's sold out. Everything related to live streaming on Amazon sold out.
Really?
All the Logitech C920s.
Oh, I noticed that. You couldn't find the webcams.
Couldn't find webcams. You couldn't find, like, I have an ATEM Mini on order that's been on order for about 8 weeks.
Oh, you
now.
too, huh? You too? I've had mine on order since October last year.
Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad it's not just me.
I just give up. I don't even care anymore.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was like so excited with it. Like,
me too.
So I was one of the weird ones. When the pandemic hit and it was the lockdown, I saw all the upside, and I'm like, the opportunities here are fantastic.
Yeah.
Everybody else was freaking out and really bummed, and I was trying to suppress my excitement.
Yeah. I know. Now, you know who's got some pretty good ones?
Try to be gloomy, you know.
Now, you know who's got some pretty good ones? Roland, ROLANDE. They have similar devices to. They're a little more expensive, but not by much. They have. I think they range all the way from like $400 or $500 up to about $1,500. But they're pretty good. They're all in ones. They do everything for you. And that's Roland. And then there's also. Well, Sony has one, but I think that's more in the $2,000 to $3,000 range. Though it's nice, it looks pretty good. So you don't need a laptop or anything; it's all embedded there. But that Mini was cool because for $300 you had four. I think it was 4 inputs, 2 mics, 2 mic inputs. Though you can get your audio from other ways. It's not bad. It's not bad. If you want to look at something that gives you a lot of mic inputs, if you want to do audio broadcasts, but you can also use it as a digital audio interface, like a USB interface, take a look at the Rodecaster. RODE Rodecaster. ROADCASTER. It's about $599, but it gives you a full audio interface with buttons that can you get a picture of that to show?
Yeah, let me.
Harold will put up a picture real quick.
You can trigger sound effects. Or
you can do all of that.
And all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
and it's beautiful, and it has the built-in Aphex audio processing, which is one of the best out there.
Yeah, so that's what it looks like.
There you go. And it doesn't weigh much. You can put it in a bag and take it with you anywhere you go. You can have an instant 4-person podcast, and you can bring in people from phones. Cell phones.
Oh, nice.
It's cool.
Well, now I noticed you guys are using Vmix. How do you like that?
Vmix. Well, we've been on Vmix now, great. I think 5 years. I think about 5 years. It's been good. It's been good. We went the route of, we had Wirecast for a long time, and then we got off of that, and it's a little buggy. It was nice, but it was buggy. Then we went to a new tech TriCaster. We spent $25,000 on that, and I hated it. It was okay.
I remember when you were getting that because I got a TriCaster too at the company I was at. They ordered a TriCaster.
That's right. We were both talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was okay, but I wasn't crazy about it. It cost us, like I said, $25,000, and it wasn't anything that was that much better than what we had with Telestream. And when we found Vmix, we got rid of the TriCaster. I sold it, and Vmix has been really good. The guy, Martin Sinclair, who runs it, does a great job. Actually, there's a Tom Sinclair who runs a streaming broadcast called Streaming Idiots. When you guys came out with Idiotic, I go, Streaming Idiots. That's interesting. And he just makes fun of it. He goes, he does it because he says, the reason I called it Idiots is because anybody can learn to do this. Anybody. You don't have to be a genius. It's actually not that hard. And you can have fun and get out there and do it. So he does consulting and helps people become streaming idiots, and he just has fun with it. And you guys have a different one, but it goes, idiotic? Well, what does that mean? And again, it's fun. You're playing with the words and stuff, and I love that. I think it's the way you called it is absolutely great.
Yeah, it's fun. And I think what's hilarious is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think one thing that puts Vmix kind of above and beyond a lot of the other solutions is that, you know, even if they have bugs from time to time, usually you tell them and they're on it. They might fix it in the next patch. I mean, Rick and I always joke, we don't think Martin sleeps. We think he just
programs all day long. This guy's amazing. But they're not very buggy, and they have versions. Like, for example, nobody really needs a 4K. We have 4K only because it gave us more inputs. But other than that, we do 1080p. And their cheapest version is only like $100 or $50. They even have a free version, but it only has like 2 or 3 inputs. But for $100, you get a lot. You get like 4 or 5 inputs plus, or 8 inputs plus, audio and everything. So it's not bad. And so we paid.
It's PC only, right?
No, right. That's the only problem right now. I wish they had other versions, but the Macs aren't the best for streaming. The memory management on the Mac is a little kludgier. We had Wirecast on the Mac, and it ran like you could cook on top of it. It was so hot. I was like,
Well, that's what my MacBook Pro is doing right now, and it has for a while. And I've been debating on whether or not do I upgrade and get the new laptop, or do I just build myself a monster PC.
Well, you know what we did? We just went off and bought Alienware Area 51 laptops for when we go external or anything else, and they're about $3,000 to $4,000, but you get a fully. I mean, that thing can handle a lot of stuff.
Well, it runs,
what we're using here is an Area 51 R4. We have other R5s, but the R4, this thing weighs 60 pounds. The case is humongous on it, and it is. I mean, we consume 5 to 6% or maybe 10 max of the CPU. It's got this one has a 1070 card in it. The other ones we have 1080s, 2080s. But this one's perfect. It doesn't even tax it. It's got dual water cooling, one for the CPU and one for the GPU. It just runs like a bat out of hell. We've got 62 gigs of memory, and it runs. You can't build a Mac like that. And to build a Mac and this cost us, I think, $5,000. To build a Mac equivalent with like a Mac Pro, you're going to be at over $10,000 and it won't run Windows all that well. So, so that's the only problem. There aren't that many good Mac streaming solutions. Wirecast runs on the Mac, but it's just not that clean. You can buy boxes now that are Thunderbolt 3 extenders. So you could do streaming with one of those, with Wirecast or maybe some other software. Oh, you know which one's pretty good too? OBS. That runs on a Mac, I think.
Oh yeah, it does. It does, but I get it. It crashes a lot.
Oh, it does? We had that problem with audio.
Yeah.
We tried it, but we couldn't get the audio to work well. So.
And it's just there's always some little thing that I just have never been able to get comfortable with on it. So. Lately, I've just been trying to decide, like I said, especially during all of this, I'm just like, I need to upgrade all my stuff, but of course I can't get anything. So I thought, well, maybe I'll build myself one machine that's just a dedicated streaming machine. I can use my laptop for everything else that I do, but just have that.
You know how to configure these, right?
Just done.
Do you know how to configure them?
I haven't built a machine in a long time, so
because I can help you if you want. Just let me know what you're looking for, and I can help you configure it. Because we build all our machines except for these Alienwares. We've been building them for years, and and you save a lot of money that way, and you just save a lot of money. So because we could have built this Alienware for probably about $3,500 instead. I think we paid we paid more. We paid about $7,000 for these. Because they put everything in them.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I've been a Mac guy for so long, and I've been buying just Macs, and because I just got out of the Windows business a long time ago. I just got fed up with it. I figure if I'm going to build a dedicated box from everything that I've been hearing, it's cheaper. You can get a lot more horsepower, do live streaming stuff, and the better software works on the Windows platform stuff better.
Now you can also get like a laptop, any kind of good PC laptop. Dell's or Lenovo's are good, and like the Lenovo Yoga can handle streaming. We've done it with that at trade shows, and haven't had any issue. That's a Lenovo Yoga. I think it's a 15-inch or a 17-inch. I'm not sure.
This one's a 15 that we have here.
15. And the one we have right now is about 3 years old.
It opens up in weird ways, right? And you can.
It does. It becomes a tablet or a notebook, and they're nice. We've had no problems with it. And we've done 3-4 trade shows with it. Learning shows, Lectora conferences. We did DevLearn. They work well. They just work really well. And the heating wasn't an issue. And we could put in Magewell cards. So the Magewell card, we had 2 of those hooked up, and that gave us 2 inputs with cameras. and it worked fine. Okay. It's an USB 3. You don't even need a fancy. I think they do have one that may be 3.1C now, but the Magewell cards are great. In fact, we have 2 4-input cards on this Alienware. One's an HDMI card with 4 inputs, and the other one is a SDI card with 4 inputs. So we can have up to 8 cameras in this place. I think we've got 3 right now on it. But it gives us a lot of flexibility, and the cards just work well. They don't run that hot or anything. So it's fun.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
I'm going to have to...
Yeah, I think I might get closer to doing that.
And I'm going to have to go because I have a meeting in about 8 minutes. We ran a whole lot over, but hey, you and I, when we start talking and get Harold involved, we can talk for hours. So
it's always fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. Thanks for having me on, man.
Oh, I'm so glad you could come on too, and thanks for the last minute, helping us out on that. We appreciate it. And so anyway, we will see you soon next week. And if you need to get a hold of Brent, we'll have his information below. And do check out the Idiotic podcast. And it is great. You're going to love it. It's a fun podcast. They do a lot of good help. Got a lot of good work for the industry. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So just put it on your calendar. And
that's right. To go. 10 a.m. It's good. You'll enjoy it. We watch it every week. So have a good one, everyone. And we will see you next week on eLearnChat. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.